In order to work with a range, we need to introduce the concept called confidence intervals, which is basically just a range where you have X amount of certainty of the right answer to fall within your range. A 90% confidence interval then is a range where you think you have a 90% chance of being right, meaning that the true answer to the question falls within your range, and a 10% chance of the true answer falling beside your range, right? Why is it beneficial to be able to account for uncertainty on a given range? Well, the wider the range, the smaller our uncertainty is that the right answer would be between our bonds, right? Take a point estimate as an alternative. How sure can I be that the thing that I'm measuring is presented well by a single number? There's a very high probability that that single number that I chose is not the right answer, right? Because I'm basically just tying in everything on one single point. Imagine now that you would have to come up with an estimate for my height. If you don't know me, it's going to be more difficult, right? What would you be willing to bet €100 on this number that you're now thinking of in your head? No, probably not, right? Why wouldn't you be that? Why wouldn't you be confident in betting on a single number? Well, now pick a range. Okay, think of a range where you would be willing to bet €10 that my height falls inside your range. If my height falls into your range, you get 10. If it doesn't, you have to pay me 10. You could say, well, I think you're between. I can see that you're standing up and there's a wall behind you. I can see the bottom of that wall. So you must be higher than a meter, right? You must be taller than a meter. And most humans are shorter than 2.5 meters. So that's going to be my range. Then you say, okay, but a range that big is so arbitrary that it's useless. Then I will ask you, how is your point estimate making that any better? Ignoring the uncertainty about a question is not the solution. What does this have to do with the risk management, you might think now? Well, imagine if you are to estimate the cost of some event and you're asked to come up with an interval. And you think, hey, I've learned something about a confidence interval. Let's come up with a 90% confidence interval. Could you see how this knowledge about the underlying uncertainty about a matter could make you a better estimator? How do you actually become better at addressing that or assessing your own uncertainty? It turns out that you can be asked for a bunch of ranges on actually trivia questions. These type of questions that we just discussed. And if you do that in a short feedback loop, where you're asked to come up with these 90% confidence intervals, let's say for 20 or 30 questions, and you get after each 10 questions, you get the feedback. How many of these were actually contained the right answer? That in itself is making you a better estimator about your underlying uncertainty. When people, they say they are 90% confident of something, like that some answer would fall into their range with a 90% chance, well, actually, they're only right, meaning that the right answer is between their in between their range 30 to 40% of the time. And that's an interesting fact. So next time you say, I'm 100% sure, I'm 90% sure about something, think back to this small exercise and think twice maybe.